Welcome to the Curiosity Connection, a public access TV show about community building and civic engagement with a focus on the people and the volunteers that connect us. I'm excited to have in the studio today Tashara Taylor, Chief Executive Officer of Foothill Unity Center.
Thank you, Rena, for having me here today at Curiosity Connections. I'll just share a real brief story. When I first started with Foothill Unity Center, we have what's called Client Connects. And so for our client services department, I thought about Client Services Connects, where we just connect our participants with the resources in the San Gabriel Valley. So that whole connection is a beautiful word to me. So, anyways, thank you for having me here today.
You're very welcome.
Mhm.
And so, Tashara, tell us briefly about what Foothill Unity Center is
Mhm.
and about the clients, participants that you're serving.
Yes, so Foothill Unity Center, we are a community action agency. And so that means that our focus is on anti poverty initiatives, those causes and conditions of poverty. We are a safety net of resources. And when I say a safety net of resources, we are food distribution. So we have two sites where we distribute food. We provide health resources. In addition, we provide job development resources. As well, we provide housing and homeless resources. So that's where I mean a safety net of resources, helping our families or our participants and individuals to stabilize their lives because they are in those impoverished living situations.
Okay, you mentioned two locations. I want you to go back to let us know where at least the cities that they're in, but
Mhm.
also can you paint a picture, a clear picture of who your participants or clients are? What are their age groups? What is their socioeconomic class and status?
Yeah, so the distribution sites are our two locations are located in Monrovia. That's a home here in Monrovia, and then Pasadena. And so it's on Chestnut, and our Pasadena location is on Oak. And so those are our two service locations. And because we're a community action agency, we really focus in on those who are living at 200% or below the federal poverty guidelines. And so people are really living on the bare minimum of income to provide for their households, and that's who we're serving. And so while it might not seem like there is poverty in the areas, again, I mentioned Monrovia and Pasadena, and those are areas that are a little more affluent. While it might seem like there's not poverty, there is poverty in those areas, and we're serving the participants that are living in poverty. And those are people that are, we serve the whole spectrum. And when I say spectrum, meaning the age spectrum from children to aging adults, however old one might turn. But but in our service to our participants that are living in poverty, these are people that are households that are living on fixed incomes. They are the working poor. They are the housed. They are the unhoused. These are the people that we're serving. They are all races that we serve. We do not discriminate. We're very much so inclusive. And again, we serve everyone. The guidelines, though, is that they fall under the poverty guidelines of 200% or less of the poverty guidelines. And so I guess putting that into context, a family of four might be living on an annual income of, say, 25,000 or less. And so just imagine that in
Right,
the
the
state of
numbers there.
California. Yeah.
So can you kind of connect us to, for example, you mentioned that you're serving all ages. So
Mhm.
what might be an example of a program for youth or for children?
Yeah, so we have a couple of programs that are really focused on children. I say a couple, but maybe a few. So because I just thought about this, we have youth that are in work experience. And so we have youth that come to the center and they're gaining skills as they're in high school. So that's work experience skills. So that's one of our programs. In addition, we have our back to school program. And so we just had our back to school program on last Tuesday, August 8th. And it was great because we served at the event itself, we served nearly 1,000 children. And so they came and they got their backpacks and school supplies and haircuts and manicures. And it's also a point at our back to school where we connect the community with our participants because we want our children to thrive. We want the households, for our families, the children to thrive while they're in school. And so we bring in the community so that the participants or the clients that we serve have exposure to these are resources that are in the community that you're able to access just in case you need this resource in the school season or out of the school season. Know that this is a resource that's available to you. And so we connect in that way. And so there are health providers that are there, there are job development providers that are there, there are just community partners that are there that are helping, volunteering to help this come about. They are also providing their resources and awareness of who they are in the community.
Tell me a little bit about the volunteers and the amount of people. How do you get all the resources? Are those donated?
Right. Yeah. So our volunteers are our lifeblood. They are our lifeline and our lifeblood to the organization. Volunteers for us, they help to build that capacity. They help us to extend our reach into the community. You mentioned the back to school, as well, even the mobile dental clinic. We have volunteers that come in and extend the reach. Our staffing is about 25 staffing, and therefore we cannot serve the thousands of people that we serve. At back to school, we serve nearly 1,000 people from 9 o'clock till about 1:30 in that brief period of time. With our staffing size, we would not have been able to do that with the help and the support of volunteers. And who are these volunteers? They are community members. They are corporations. They are businesses. They are individuals who want to give of their time and love working with children and love being a part of that, giving children an opportunity to make their choices or selections on backpacks and, clothing that they receive. To put it some in context, last year there were 49, we clocked, I guess is the word I'm going to use, about 49,000, a little over 49,000 hours, volunteer hours. And in 2022, the rate of volunteerism in terms of dollar value was about $29 and some change. And so when you put that $29, dollars and 25 cents, I believe it is, in 2022, and multiply that times the 49,000 hours, that's about almost $1.5 million
Tashara, thank you for,
so putting it in context.
Yes, thank you for monetizing the importance of volunteers, and because I think it's something that people have to realize that when you volunteer, you are sacrificing. However, you also have that wonderful opportunity to contribute, but it does equate to a actual dollar amount.
That's right. Yes.
And so with that, I'd like to also say, how do you get all the supplies? And then let's talk about, you mentioned something that I really think is so valuable is the dental clinic.
Yes.
So
yes. It's partnerships and it's raising awareness. And, I want to go to the volunteers again because we're on that topic. The volunteers, people want to give. They want to, and when I say give monetarily, but I'm also thinking of their time and their talent because people are aware. And a part of our vision, is to give people the opportunity to give. And so we put it on our platforms, on our social media and on our website, giving people the opportunity to volunteer, to lend a hand to this particular program that we have. You mentioned the mobile dental clinic, and dental health is hugely important. If you don't take care of your dental health when you're a child, it grows into that adultness to become some of those preventable diseases that they're preventable diseases. We could take care of them, all attributed to dental health. And so we brought in the dental clinic, partnered with USC Ostro School of Dentistry, partnered with them because we know the importance of dental health and we know the importance of giving people a good dental experience so that they will want to go to the dentist and take care of their dental health. They'll want to teach their children to continue to follow up with the importance of dental health as a child. And so we did that about 15 years ago, a little more, a little less, 15 years. And we've been in this partnership. The children are ages 5 to 21, so children and youth are given this opportunity to get a comprehensive dental, the exam, the deep cleanings, they get fillings and extractions. Some are receiving root canals. What we've done lately is to have our caregivers of the children, so those parents, those grandparents that are taking care of children, they also are eligible for receiving that comprehensive service or comprehensive dental service. So we know the importance. We know the importance. And again, how do we receive these, donations? This year, for example, we had Sierra Subaru of Monrovia. They were there and they had put together dental packets. So these were toothbrushes and dental kits.
Right.
Yes, for the families. And so they were there and they distributed, they provided lunch for. They didn't have to do this. This is a partnership, a relationship, with Sierra Subaru of Monrovia. And they decided to come out. They wanted to come out. They let us know. We let them come out and provide this. We put the awareness out there that we're having this, and there are people, and we give the opportunity for people to sign up and let us know, hey, we'd like to be there. So these are volunteers, are individuals, corporations, businesses that are wanting to lend a hand and come together to meet this need for the community that we serve.
One of the main things that I think about Foothill Unity Center is the food distribution program. Tell us a little bit about how it works and who the people are.
Yeah. So again, we are working with in our food distributions. Our families, our individuals are coming. They're coming and accessing food once a week. They can come once a week and access food. So not daily, but once a week. And they're accessing groceries. And so this helps to keep money in the participants' pockets that it can go towards other areas, other bills that they have to pay. It can pay the rent, it can pay for the medicine, it can pay for extras that the children might need for school, whatever it might be. It allows the groceries that the participants are receiving on a weekly basis are, bread and canned goods and fresh produce and dairy, so eggs and milk. I don't know if you've been to the grocery store lately, and I imagine that you have. You've seen those prices, and so just imagine our participants are getting a grocery cart of food that you see on the shelf. They're receiving the food in their grocery cart, and this is helping to save monies.
I want you to clarify. Are these just people that just drive up, or how who are they? Are they your clients per se? Have you met them before?
Yeah. So there are people that come on a regular basis. We serve 12 cities primarily. So 12 cities along the foothills in the San Gabriel Valley, as far out as Baldwin Park, Azusa, and far west as Altadena, Pasadena. And so there are 12 cities along the way that we serve. With the pandemic, we opened up our service area because people were showing that they were continuing to access the food resources at our distribution centers, and because they continue to access, they were demonstrating that they still need. If people didn't need the food, they wouldn't come and access the food. And so in the process, how do we, get to know the participants? We qualify our families and individuals on an annual basis. So we gather paperwork from them, and we gather, information that says what their income is, and then we gather information that says what cities they live, because that's what we're really looking at. Are they falling within the poverty guidelines, and are they in the service area or in the cities that we serve? And so that's what we're gathering, and we qualify or update on an annual basis.
Can you tell us a little bit about how many people you're serving per week, and about how much food that you're distributing, and just some numbers there. I'm
Yeah.
curious.
Yeah. So I'll give some context on in terms of our 2022 overview. And so in 2022, we served about 13,000 individuals. And so that's household wise, that is about 4,000 households that we served in that annual basis. And then context, we served close to 1 million pounds of food that was, provided, which is huge, right? It really is
Right.
huge. I still have to wrap my mind around 1 million. But anyways, so yes, so that's the amount of food that we're serving, and the food that we receive. So it's a combination of LA Regional Food Bank. We receive a lot of USDA foods from LA Regional Food Bank. So that's more your canned goods that are there. But then we receive also foods from the local markets and the grocery stores. So this is like a food recovery that's happening. We want to mitigate the food waste that's happening in
Very
our
important.
in our nation, and so mitigating that food waste is recovering it from those food resources, those food generators, like the local Vons and the Trader Joe's, and some of the local markets. They have to move food off of their shelf because there are dates on there, and they have to move food off their shelves. And for us, like a food distribution center like ourselves, we know that there is life beyond the shelf, and I like to say that life beyond the shelf. And so we are recovering that food, and we're getting it into the baskets, into the households of the families, the participants, the individuals that we serve. I don't want to forget that we also provide bagged lunches for our unhoused community. And so our unhoused community, they're able to come every day to access food. So our food distributions are 3 days a week. They are Monday, Wednesday, Friday in Monrovia office, and Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday in our Pasadena office. And so distribution days is where we direct people is to access on distribution days. However, our unhoused community, they are able to access every day because they
Okay.
don't have that access to the food on the regular. And so they can come
Right.
and access every day.
To share, I wanted to share this one uh, fact.
Mhm.
On April 17th, 2023, the Journal of American Medical Association stated that poverty is the fourth leading cause of death in the United States behind cancer, heart disease, and smoking. You mentioned the unhoused,
Mhm.
and when clearly we can link poverty to being unhoused.
Mhm.
I'd like you to speak to the impacts from poverty to COVID uh, to the recent heat emergencies.
Mhm.
Tell us about the impacts that has had on your clients and how
Yeah.
Foothill Unity is meeting the moment.
Yeah. So meeting the moment, thinking about our unhoused community, unhoused is a condition of poverty for sure. And I love the research that really pulled in and focused in on poverty itself. It's lacking. It is not having enough. A family, an individual not having enough, not having the basics of what they need to survive, to get to that place of self sufficiency or get to that place of self actualization, not having the basics met. And so I'm really glad that an article came out and showed that that's huge, the fourth leading cause of death. And so that is huge, that awareness. And so what I want to communicate is that, in the lacking, our unhoused community, they're on the streets, the suffering heats outside. And so people are dying on the streets, unhoused. Where do they go? One of the things that we've addressed, or how we've addressed, for example, the heats and having our unhoused community to come in every day and access, is we have what we call the Cafe Bistro. And a part of the Cafe Bistro is not only to get a hot prepared meal to our participants, but the origin of the Cafe Bistro was to provide more liquids for our unhoused community, and provide those liquids in the form of smoothies or shakes or teas or waters, flavored waters, because our unhoused community, they are out living on the streets, riding their bikes, walking long distances in the unbearable heat. And so we want to make sure that our unhoused community is hydrated. That's why we started or began the Cafe Bistro. It's really to do more infusing of liquids into our unhoused. Go ahead.
I did visit your facility, and so I
Mhm.
did witness this Cafe Bistro in full action there. The other
Awesome.
thing I observed was that it was an opportunity for people to recharge not only themselves
Mhm.
but also their phones
Mhm. Their
or
devices.
anything that they may have. Maybe an opportunity for them to connect
Mhm.
with other people and with the resources, and just with that assurance that there is help. Can you tell us a little bit more about some of the programs? I think you offer pretty much exclusively to the unhoused
Mhm.
that we need to know about, and what we might
Yeah.
shine a light on here.
Yeah, definitely. So for unhoused, I mentioned Cafe Bistro, and I'm glad you're able to see it in action. And like you said, there are charging stations. It's an opportunity to sit still, connect with others, have some hot food. We also offer on a weekly basis mobile showers, and that's a partnership with LASA. We A mobile unit comes to our sites, both Pasadena as well Monrovia, on a weekly basis. Pasadena on Wednesdays, Monrovia on Fridays, and our unhoused participants are able to access the showers. And during that time, they access Cafe Bistro and they're accessing, additional liquids and recharging. But they also, with the mobile showers, it's an opportunity for the participants to connect with the caseworker, to the caseworkers to help the unhoused participants to navigate the housing systems. And, if they're ready for a search for housing, they connect with a caseworker who helps come alongside them to walk that journey and path of securing permanent housing. And then one of the other unhoused programs that we have, and it's only in Pasadena, is our safe parking program. And so might not think about safe parking but safe parkers, there are many, the number of vehicle dwellers or unhoused who are living in their
Mm.
vehicles is growing. It's growing on a regular basis. And we, partnered with a faith-based organization. So Trinity is where we have our safe parking. Partnered with them and are tackling one bite at a time, I'll say, because it's really small scale. The Trinity provides 5 parking spaces, and we have unhoused participants who are living in their vehicles that are unhoused in Pasadena, and living in their vehicles, and they have been assigned to our safe parking program. And so it's a place where parkers can safely sleep at night. They are not worried about being ticketed or having any type of vehicle violations due to parking or parking violations. So they're able to park overnight. They connect with the caseworker to walk along this journey and get plugged in, get housed. And so we're excited about it because with the caseworkers, again, finding housing, this is a path for us to finding housing. It's a place we know that the Parkers are there. It's a whole beautiful program for participants. There's we call it a fellowship meeting that takes place once a month, where our Parkers they feed it. So it's coming together. They eat together. It's like a group setting. The Parkers come together. The caseworkers come together as well. The volunteers and the host site, which is Trinity Church, they come together and meet, and the Parkers are able to feed into what's working and what's not working, and where they are in the process or the journey. And so we're happy to say that we have a few of our participants that have been safe parkers that have been housed. We have right now in line next, it's 2 to 3 of our safe parkers that are connected with the Hope House in Pasadena, which is newer, to be housed. And so we're just excited about that pathway to housing through our safe parking program. So those are 3 programs that we offer for our unhoused: the bag lunches, the Cafe Bistro, as well the mobile showers on a weekly basis, and then on a daily basis is our safe parking, which is in Pasadena.
approximately, what are the numbers of the unhoused that you're serving?
Yeah, so we're serving about, I'll say 40 of our unhoused on a weekly basis. It could be a little bit more because, I go um, because of the bag lunches that are prepared or those that are accessing the Cafe Bistro, the number of people that are coming to the showers at both of the sites. And so that alone is closer to 40. But I'm just going to do a conservative number. We're serving at least 40 participants
Is
on a
that in the
weekly
Monrovia
in
area?
Monrovia.
Are they the
And then
same 40 or?
they're consistent 40. Yeah.
Okay.
Every once in a while we get, someone that might be newer. They heard about us, and they come and maybe they become regular and maybe they are not regular. I mean, homelessness or unhoused can be very transient. But there's a consistent, I'll say consistent 40 that are accessing. And I know that there are a lot more unhoused population.
Mhm.
However, I'm just going to give a conservative 40.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. My question is there outreach, or is it up to the
Mm,
individual unhoused person
hmm.
or car dweller to reach out to you, or
Yeah.
is there any kind of outreach to people that we drive by the park and we see
Yeah.
all the RVs there, or the parked cars at
Right.
a local park, or people camping out at our community center?
Right.
Is there any outreach or active outreach, and do you rely upon the city to
Hmm.
help with that outreach? Can you tell us a little bit about that association between perhaps a
Yeah.
nonprofit organization
And
and
the
a
city.
governmental organization?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll first start with at Foothill Unity Center. We don't do a direct kind of street outreach. That's not in the scope of the service that we provide. However, we have partners that do. And so if there's a call, for example, a community member might call and say, hey, there's a lady that is sleeping on the bench, every day, and can anyone come out? We wouldn't be the ones that go out and do the kind of street outreach, but we would contact our partners to go and connect with the participant or the client or the person that is sleeping on the bench. And so having that point of contact, making sure that the participant, and I keep calling participants, but the client or that person, that connection would take place, and that way we would call in. In terms of the partnership with the city, that is a great. We provide, so with the city of Monrovia, for example, we provide a case management program where we go into the community center, and this was set up by the city of Monrovia. Go into the community center. We're there 4 days a week, about 4 hours each day, 3.5 to 4 hours each of those days, Monday through Thursday. It gives opportunity for people who are coming into the community center to access to our resources directly out of the community center. And so that's a case management service that we do in the community with the city of Monrovia. With the city of Pasadena, and a city entity, we work with the housing department. So we're part of the continuum of care called Pasadena Partnership, and that relationship works because we go to meetings, we learn about best practices. There are many other housing providers that are in the room, and so we're all identifying solutions to how do we address, how do we tackle, how are we going to do the count this year, who are going to be our volunteers and our service providers that will be a part of the count this year. And so that's another partnership and connecting with a city entity to address and tackle the issues of unhoused.
Okay, to share, we're winding down to the
Okay.
last few minutes here.
Yes, yes.
I do want to talk about some of your funding campaigns, because clearly this organization is a
Hmm.
nonprofit organization. And also, I'd like to hear a little bit about one of your biggest fundraisers that's coming up.
Yeah,
Please
yeah.
let us know about that.
Yeah, so I want to let you know about our Golden Plate Awards ceremony. That is our only fundraiser, or at least our largest fundraiser of the year. And the reason that we have established the Golden Plate Award ceremony is one, to fundraise. I mean, that's the key, is to fundraise, because it's those donations that help us to sustain as well, in the community, to provide the resources that we provide. But the other is to elevate and give thanks to those who hold that same mission as we do. And so those are individuals, and those are businesses, and those are youth groups that hold the same heart that we do. And so we have awards that we provide at the Golden Plate. And this year's Heart and Hand Humanitarian Award will be for Don and Maria Schweitzer of the law offices of Schweitzer. And then we have our Neighbors Helping Neighbors. And so we have Community Partner Neighbors Helping Neighbor Award, which is with Mountainside Communion. And then we have our Neighbors Helping Neighbors Youth Award, which will go to the Assist Teens. So Assist Teens, that's a youth group. And then we have our Carl Foote Award, Legacy Award. And so Carl Foote was one of our board members, and he passed away a few years ago. And we decided to have a legacy award in his name. Carl Foote embodied completely the heart of the organization. He got it on a large scale in terms of why you donate, because we are in times where the needs are great and growing. And so you want to have resources like Foothill Unity Center in the community to help meet those needs. And so he got it on that way. He got it in terms of data, and his heart was just genuinely there. And so our Carl Foote Legacy Award will go to Lois Gadsden this year. So those are our honorees, and we are excited. The Golden Plate Award ceremony this year is on Thursday, September 28th, and it will be held at the Noor, which is in Pasadena. So that's Noor, which is located in Pasadena. And you can find out more information. We're taking sponsorships. So that's a part of our fundraising. We're still accepting or taking tickets to purchase tickets and tables. And so you can find out more at our website, which is www.foothillunitycenter.org. And that's where you can find out more about the Golden Plate Award ceremony.
That's great. I appreciate it. It's coming up in September.
It's coming up September 28th. Yeah. So mark your calendars. Definitely mark your calendars and be there. We look at it as celebrating together, again, elevating, saying thank you to community members who carry the heart, and then raising money so that we can continue to provide the resources to the community. There are needs in our community, so we can't close our eyes and pretend that there are not needs. There are needs, and together we can bring about the change, positive change in the lives of the community that we serve.
Lastly, to share, and go ahead and speak into the camera here.
Yes.
Tell us what we can do to help you fulfill your mission, to continue to serve the people that need our help and resources. What can we do? What do you need?
Yeah, I'll definitely say that. So one, I want to start with this. We are an organization with a heart to serve, and we have the strength to solve. And if you have that same heart to serve and you want to be a part of solution, then we ask you to donate. We want to be top of mind, like your top 5, to donate to organizations, to resources like ourselves. We also want you to donate your time. Come and volunteer. Come and plug in and know all that it takes to get prepared to do or provide or deliver the service to the community. So financially donate, and donate your time, your skills, your talent. Thank you.
Tashara, it's a pleasure to have you here on the Curiosity Connection. And I welcome you to stay curious about your community and to get involved in volunteering. I look forward to seeing you next time on the Curiosity Connection.